前はもう死んでいる。何？
Hey, John Rowe.
The topic of the
We do a
podcast
podcast.
together
We
and
should do a
honestly, I'm
podcast.
excited.
お前はもう死んでいる。何？
Hey, John. Hey, John Rowe. We should do a podcast.
The topic of the podcast together and honestly, I'm excited.
G'day, dorks, and welcome to Lords of Dorktown, a podcast all about anime, cartoons, and video games. I'm your host, Philip, and the dork joining me tonight is Jason. I can't think of the nickname I gave you. What was the nickname I gave you? My Isekai boy?
My Isekai boy.
My Isekai boy.
Yes.
How you doing, Jason?
I'm well, Phil. How you doing?
Pretty good.
You been on holidays lately, Phil?
Yeah, man. I literally only got back like a day or two ago. I completely went dark on socials and everything, and just if you
Did that feel good though?
yeah,
Did you
really
enjoy
good.
it?
Oh, so good. Like if you follow
Did
the
you get like a tick or anything? You know, shakes.
a bit of a shake.
Yeah.
No withdrawals. But like if you follow the Lords of Dorktown Instagram page or Facebook, you would have noticed that there's been nothing this week. Absolutely nada.
I kind of saw that.
Yeah, I just took because it was a family holiday and we had it planned, and I probably should have scheduled some posts and stuff, but typical me fashion, left it all to the last minute and just completely was just like, fuck it. We put an episode out last week. We just didn't do any social media posts about it, so
Just drop the bomb.
I'll be double posting this week to catch it all up on to date on all the posts that I was supposed to make. But no, man, holidays were good. Taking a step back from.
Where did you go, Phil?
So we went to Mudgee, New South Wales. It's like
I don't think I've ever been there.
it's like a winery kind of town.
Okay.
Like 4 hours
So
out of Sydney.
is it in like the Hunter Valley?
Yeah. It's like
Hunter, yeah,
4 hours out of Sydney. It's part of the what were the signs calling it? The Midwestern region of New South Wales. It's under the Midwestern region. That's what
It must have just stepped over that borderline.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they could claim it.
Claim it. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
No, it was good. Like, we spent 4 days away with the family. Like, holidays with little kids at any point is like,
Tiring.
it's exhausting. Like, it was really exhausting. But no, it was fun. Like, we for anyone who doesn't know, like, Mudgee's is weirdly, it's such a weird place because it's like one side of it is so gorgeous. Like, we went to all these national parks. We saw a bunch of stuff that was amazing. We went to this place called the Drip Gorge, which is like one of the most beautiful national park things I've ever been to.
Did that get affected by the fires at all?
Yeah, we drove through like a fair bit of like burnt bushland and stuff on the way there.
Okay.
Especially like traveling up the coast. Like there was heaps of very burnt looking bushland that's starting to recover now.
How amazing is it?
Yeah, it's really pretty.
How crazy is like the bush now? It's
Was it this time last year?
yeah.
No, it was it was this time last year, yeah.
Because then it went directly onto coronavirus.
Because it was like from November through to like
And it got
February.
real bad during January, right?
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that was. Surely everyone listening to this podcast knows about the Australian bushfires, but if you don't, this time last year Australia was going through some of the worst bushfires in history.
Modern history, is that what they say?
For Australia, yeah.
Yeah.
We lost something like billions of wildlife. Like it was
It was insane.
Catastrophic.
Yeah.
real bad.
And how many millions of hectares or
Like insane, like
millions?
gross amounts.
It was
It was so weird because we spent 6 weeks or probably longer than that, like 3 months almost, daily checking the Fire Safe app.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we finished checking that, we were just checking case numbers on the health app. Like it was just like all I did was for like 6 months was refresh internet pages to see fires near me or COVID cases near me. Like nuts.
It was crazy, yeah. Was it the smoke that went around the globe and then came back through Australia again?
Did it go all the way around?
I'm pretty sure it did.
That's weird. Oh, that's insane.
That's how much. Yeah, it was something stupid.
That's so crazy to think about that it went all the way around and then, oh man. But yeah, like there's a lot of places there that are like recovering from the bushfires. So it was really pretty. Like here, like on the drive up, there's lots of these like kind of blackened looking forests with like bright, vibrant green just springing up all the way through it, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But Mudgee itself is like such a beautiful place. Like as I was saying, it's got some of the most gorgeous national parks I've ever seen. But on the borders of all these national parks are just fucking mines. Like it's just one like driving on a road. One side's a national park, the other side's a fucking coal mine. Like we went to this place called the Wetlands, right?
Yep.
And it was like a wetlands little national park area. And we looked at all the photos online. It was gorgeous, mate. Just beautiful, pristine little like lake thing with an island in the middle. Just birds everywhere. Like all this wildlife. They've got these, first time I've ever seen them, like little bird looks. So it's just like a little cabin placed in like a bunch of trees and stuff like that. So you can go in there and stay in there and silently watch the birds.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
But what they failed to mention on all the pictures on the websites and all this stuff and all the reviews we saw, that it is next to a fucking concrete plant. Literally, you're driving up and the sign says, this way to wetlands, this way to Boris Concrete. And it's like, what? And, excuse me, you park and literally the parking lot is shared with a concrete plant.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like they've sponsored the wetlands.
Well, they're doing something to the wetlands. I don't know if it's fucking sponsoring. But like everything, like the gentle hum of cicadas is drowned out by the sound of concrete being made 10 meters to the left of a wetland. Like it's the weirdest dichotomy I've ever seen.
Whew.
Really great though. After Mudgee, we went to Dubbo for the Western Plains Zoo.
Mm-hmm.
That was fine.
Oh, I got lost there as a child, I think. Mum and Dad thought I got eaten by a crocodile.
Well, for the first day, so Western Plains Zoo is like a massive zoo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were there for 2 days. So on the first day, we decided we'll get bikes and ride around the zoo with the kids in like trailers in the back.
Was that the best or worst
The
idea?
worst mistake we've ever made in our lives. Like, we're not the fittest people.
Oh.
Like me and my wife. Like my wife's way fitter than I am. And
So she outpaced you?
yeah, like, and she was carrying the heavier kid. Like I took the baby in the trailer. She took the 6-year-old. Like
But you've been having some issues too yourself,
yeah,
right?
health issues and whatever.
Okay.
That's what I tell myself to
Yeah,
sleep
yeah.
better at night. But anyway, but we were doing these bike rides, and the night before we decided we're on holiday, so we had a few wines and stuff like that. So we were a bit dusty the day of the zoo, and I was also
They're the best days,
just
aren't they?
starting to lose my voice and everything. You can probably hear I'm a bit raspy now. I was on the verge of losing my voice, so I wasn't in peak condition. And then we did a 6-hour bike ride through a zoo on a hot day. Mate, there was points, because we went back the next day to go around the zoo again, and that time we just drove around instead of riding. And on the second way through, me and my wife stopped and pointed out all the points we thought we were going to throw up or pass out. And it was just like, it was like a reality tour of the heinous day we had there the next day. Because there was literal points where I was riding a bike up a hill, and you know when you get that watery feeling in your mouth that you're about to throw up?
Oh, yeah.
I was just spitting next to the bike,
Oh,
just like
no.
getting all the water in my mouth. I'm like, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up in front of a rhino.
And your mouth just sort of salivates,
Oh,
doesn't
it
it?
was awful.
We had a similar experience over in Perth. Perth's a beautiful place, right? Beautiful. And we went to Rottnest Island. Ali and I thought, the island's not that big, so we'll just hire some bikes. Holy shit. We walked up so many hills because it was just, it was doing us in.
We definitely did
And
the walk.
we only had a certain amount of time to sort of go around the island and get back to our boat. And at the end of it, we started rushing back because, one, we were thirsty, hungry, sweaty, and literally had to fly home that night. It was crazy.
It was like...
And we didn't have a shower till we got back to...
Oh, no.
Back home. We literally got to Sydney and then drove home.
Oh,
It was disgusting.
that's awful. There was animals that we pulled up to see that I don't remember seeing because my vision was going blurry just because I was like borderline about to pass out from like heat exhaustion. I don't like, and so many people were riding their bikes around the zoo, like so many people. And I'm like, I'm not fit, but I'm not that unfit. And I was looking at people, I'm like, how are you doing this? Don't smile and wave to me. I know the pain behind your eyes. I too just like rode up that 2K hill.
Just think they're all like mailmans on their push bikes, right?
The worst part is
They do
like,
that on a daily basis, man.
all the best animals, like the peak animals that you want to see at a zoo, like your elephants, your rhinos, your giraffes. You see all those first.
Yeah.
So when you're doing a 2K bike ride up a hill,
Did you see a quokka?
no. When you're doing a 2K bike ride up a hill to see a wombat, when I passed like 3 wombats on the drive to Mudgee, like it's the risk and reward scenario of riding your bike around the zoo is
Echidnas?
out of way. Yeah, I saw an echidna.
Yeah,
They're
no.
cool and all. We used to get them in our backyard.
we
I don't
still
want
do,
to.
yeah.
I don't want to ride 3Ks up a hill. Like, I keep saying how
Big is this zoo?
It's nearly a 6K track all the way around.
Okay.
But the first half of it is uphill. The second half's a bit better because it was a bit more downhill. But like, I was dying. It was real dire.
Well, make sure you go on a bus tour if you go to Rottnest. I'm telling you. It is. Oh.
But there was also a little part of me because it was my wife's idea. Like, she championed the idea of getting the bikes. Like, she was really behind it, and I was supportive. But there was a part of me when I looked over and saw her like start to crack and start to be like a bit like, oh, this is maybe a bad idea. Sweat is pouring off her. She's riding uphill.
This is before she got on the bike.
No. She's riding uphill with like our oldest in this bike trailer behind her, who weighs 20 kilos more than the child I'm towing. Just like, and I can just see her, and a little crack starts to show, and there's a little part of me that's like, don't say it. And all I wanted to say was, I told you so. That's all I was like, fucking told you so. It's going to suck.
Like with Rottnest, it was nice. It was great. But having a time limit, it's not a matter difficult to absorb everything.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, it
was like a 12 or 20K like round trip.
Fuck that.
It was
fuck. I was dying on a 5K trip.
It was. I can't remember. I would have to look it up, but it was really long.
Ugh,
it was longer than I thought, and it was so up and down. And I tried. I just look. The quokkas are great and all. And like seeing a few road kills on the way there too from the bus. Oh man,
that's
it was. Yeah, I don't know.
The second day at the zoo when we took the car was like significantly much better.
At least you're not dripping with sweat.
And I just feel like I enjoyed seeing actual animals. Like the first trip around, I just enjoyed not riding a bike for 5 minutes to stop and look. I just didn't appreciate any of the animals. It's pretty great. But no,
you didn't appreciate what they've been through to be in this cage.
Well, Taronga Western Plains like one of the biggest like open plains. Like it's really cool actually how to see because they have like enclosures where they put giraffes, rhinos, and like black bucks and all these different animals together in the one massive open enclosure. So it's really cool, like because you get to see like a natural. Anyway, holidays was good. It was good to take a break from social media, and I actually took a bit of a break from anime, my friend.
Yeah,
I wasn't because I wasn't watching all the anime I normally watch because obviously I was doing family activities. So I ended up taking a bit of a vacay.
Yeah.
From anime. So that was good. I mean,
spend time with your bae.
Oh, yeah. No, like to take a little break away from anime, I think was kind of good because I felt a bit refreshed for the genre when I came back to it. You know, it was only 5 days, but for me, that's missing out on like 50 to 60 episodes of anime.
Yeah, I guess. I only jump on it when a anime that I'm following sort of uploads a new episode now.
It was good. I had a bit
There's
of a
not
back.
much that I've.
I had a bit of a back catalogue to get through when I got back, which was fun. Have you been doing anything else, mate, or we've both been on holidays?
Yeah, we've both been on holidays. We haven't really done much. We've just been chilling.
Yeah.
Not much at all.
Oh.
Just getting some house stuff done and just going out for breakfast. And
I love that. We did breakfast every day.
Oh, I love breakfast.
Everyday brunch is like it's a must. Oh, it's so good.
Shopping, nothing too much.
Should we rip into the topic today, bud?
The topic. Drum roll.
The main reason you're here, mate.
Drum roll.
Let's break into the topic. I got a little thing to play for you, and I'm so excited for you to hear it. In the year 1993, a being was born into this world. A being with one goal, one drive, one destiny. To watch all the terrible Isekai anime that has been spewed forth into the void that is the anime streaming services. That being is Jason. Now the time has come to ask the question, the one and only question, the question that has echoed through the great halls of our ancestors for eternity past, the question that has been whispered in the ears of gods and men alike. Why Isekai? So, Jason. Jason.
How long did it take you
Way longer than I care to admit.
make that intro?
I'm pretty pleased with that one. I think it was quite fun.
It turned out well.
Thank you. So yes, the topic today, the reason you're here, why Isekai? Now, we have mentioned on previous podcasts that you are my Isekai boy.
Man, how did that become?
How did that become you? I think because all you watch is Isekai is how that become you. It's like self-fulfilling prophecy, mate. You were born to be this person.
You're gonna have to get some merch.
Some why Isekai?
Yeah. And then just have a question mark and my face next to it or something.
Jesus Christ. So
Why Isekai?
Why Isekai? So I think...
I honest to God, I think it's more nostalgic. Not in the sense that it's Isekai and like fan service and all that, but like with how they're like what the basis behind it is. Like because I grew up sort of playing a lot of role playing games, and that's what they remind me of, right?
Yeah.
And like all your stats, MMOs, you know. I enjoy that, and also like your overpowered characters. I like that from like Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball. But why Isekai?
Well, what is Isekai? Because I looked up a definition of Isekai in preparation for this episode. I did the maximum amount of research possible for Lords of Dorktown.
You've done more than I have then.
Well, I Wikipedia'd Isekai, so peak Dorktown research here. So the definition for Isekai is it's a genre of light novel, manga or anime and video game that revolves around a normal human person from Earth being displaced, transported to, or reborn, or otherwise trapped in a parallel universe, fantasy world, or virtual world, where they must adapt or assimilate into the new world, along with its new rules, cultures, and philosophies.
Have you noticed that most of these isekais revolve around like a 14-year-old Japanese boy?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of author inserts. Like it feels like a lot of the main protagonist is always the author insert, the 35-year-old virgin who wakes up in a...
Yeah, that's kind of strange.
The word virgin is mentioned far too frequently in TV, in anime descriptions for my liking in Isekai.
It does, doesn't it?
But like, so after reading that, I kind of realized that my definition of Isekai was a lot more narrow. And before we hit record, we were kind of rattling off what other Isekais there are. Off that definition,
what we came to the conclusion that Narnia
is an Isekai. Narnia, Digimon's an Isekai, which is crazy because like Digimon's a massive franchise. Mm-hmm. So
I didn't realize until you pointed it out.
Well,
they do go into another world.
That would be my most watched Isekai. I've watched basically all of Digimon.
Yeah,
I'm an Isekai guy too, Jason.
Don't categorize. I don't just like isekai.
But there's
like I don't mind trash isekai because I can burn through 12 episodes pretty quick and
in preparation for this episode, I watched a fuck ton of bad isekai. So I mentioned earlier how I had a break from anime.
Yeah.
When I came back from holidays, I watched
5 days straight.
So much isekai. So much isekai.
This would be your most hated genre, right?
Easily.
Okay. I'm glad I put you through this.
Easily my most hated genre. And like, I think my opinion of it's changed a bit now that I've watched more.
Okay. See, I like that fantasy world, like basics.
You
know, like the fantasy, magic. I don't like any like robotics in it. I'm not a big fan. I like it when it's just like medieval.
Yeah, no mechas or anything like
mechas,
that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So in preparation for this, I watched, and some of these I had already watched, but like my main isekai knowledge that I'm drawing from are Sword Art Online,
Yep.
which we did an episode about. ReZero, which we did an episode about. Slime,
Yep, that time I got reincarnated as slime. Yep.
which we've mentioned heaps, but I don't think we've done an episode about it.
I don't think we have.
But we've mentioned it a bunch.
It's one of my top ones.
Also, Shield Hero,
Which I'm still yet to watch.
which I think we've mentioned it before. Definitely haven't done an episode on it.
No.
Dr. Stone, which is contentious to be called an isekai, but I think it falls under the category.
You reckon? I might jolt that one down, Dr. Stone.
What else? Bon Fury.
Which is, we've mentioned it before in a previous episode.
Yeah, we have actually. Yep.
Yeah.
What
you
else?
looked at it in disgust.
Mm.
You were, yeah.
I
You couldn't believe it.
have some interesting things to say on that one when we get to it. Mushoku Tensei,
Which I've been recently watching.
Jobless Reincarnation.
I don't mind it. You hate it.
I hate it. And I think that's it. I think that's all the ones that... Oh, and my grandfather's something.
Oh, yeah. I watched one episode, I think.
Yeah.
I wasn't too into it.
I'll find what that one is and bring it up. But yeah.
I think the animation sort of gets me as well. If I'm not a big fan of the actual animation, the art, I won't really be drawn into it. Yeah. Anyway, like the ones I've watched.
Yeah. What's your watch list?
So, a Refureta. It is so fan serviced. It is ridiculous. But and the 3D animation is utter trash.
Oh yeah.
But I still watched it. It was okay. Whatever. It's under my trash list. So Death March to a Parallel World Rhapsody.
Jesus.
It's
what a name.
It's literally about a game developer who basically they're developing a game and they go into a death march, which is what they do in preparation to launching a game. So they make sure everything's like
Is that
checked.
like Crunch? Video game Crunch?
basically.
Yeah.
But then he falls asleep because it was just under that much pressure. Wakes up in a new world. He's been like summoned, and it's much like the game he was developing, but not the same thing. And basically, he becomes overpowered because at the beginning they make something there's like an army of like these dragon beings, and before he got summoned, they mentioned something about giving the players like a handicap, which is like this magic spell, which is like utter ridiculous. It's like summoning a meteor, and he launches a meteor at this army, killing like a dragon god, and then he basically levels up to like 150, so something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's how it starts. So he's already ridiculously overpowered
From the rip.
from the rip, and he just starts like gaining powers and things like. It's just one of those classic isekais.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is
just a
all
classic
very
isekai.
isekai. Yeah.
So the hidden dungeon I only could enter. It was I don't know.
Fuck,
what,
I hate how isekais are named. Like we mentioned Bon Fury and however you pronounce it, but its second name is I didn't want to get hurt, so I maxed out my defense.
Yeah.
I put all my points into defense.
Yeah. Anyway, the hidden dungeon I only could enter. He basically had an ability where he could talk to like a great sage, and he was so underpowered, and he asked the great sage how he could get stronger, and the sage was like, "Oh, just go to this area," and he basically gets given an ability from this chick that was trapped in this, like she was literally trapped. She couldn't leave, and she gave him her ability, which was to like steal or make others make ability. I don't know. It was something weird, but I watched it anyway.
Sounds like another isekai.
Another isekai.
So much isekai.
I'm standing on 1,000,000 lives. This one is where there's basically it's like a game master. So he's like in control of these people. He's the one who summons them to this world. And each time they summon, they have to do like a few list of things, and then they go back to their normal world. And then they can grab another person, and that's how they form their party.
Okay, yeah.
And they level up. They all get assigned a job role. And like the main character gets like some shitty ass job role, but he could level it up really quickly because it's like he can use it daily, like cooking, farming.
You know what this sounds like?
And
Sounds like another isekai.
it is another isekai. Anyway, basically that's it. And they go back and forth from the world. I think like 50 or 100 years have passed or something. So it's something stupid. Anyway, another isekai.
Another isekai.
And then Bafuri.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Max out defense. Another isekai.
I think that's a bit more than an isekai. Of all the ones I watched, that one I think I liked the most.
I look, it's under my trash list.
It's
but
wholesome as fuck.
It is, yeah, it is. But man, she gained some crazy ass abilities
it's like
in that game.
the most broken sounding video game I've ever heard.
I would play it.
I would play. Everyone would play it, and everyone would put all their points into defense. Why wouldn't you?
Exactly. Why wouldn't you?
Why be DPS when you can just be a tank?
Exactly. So Cautious Hero. Oh my god, another fan service. Isekai. Oh, crazy. Basically,
I saw the little picture for that one in the recent, because as we've mentioned before, we share an anime love subscription. So I've seen all these isekais pop up in my watch next thing, and I'm like, Jason, come on, buddy, pull yourself out of the gutter for a little bit, could you?
Anyway, so what's this one about? So there's a hero, right? He's been
There always is.
by a god. So
Always happens.
by a god. I know, a hero. Whatever.
It sounds like an isekai.
Isekai. Anyway, so he had recently been summoned to defeat a demon lord, and he fails, right? And he gets sent back to his world, and then he gets summoned again. So since that failure, he had inherited a trait which was like cautiousness, like overly cautiousness. And basically, he levels the shit up because he's overly cautious. He wants to be ready for anything. And he gets summoned into this world which has like a demon lord, which is like categorized as like a god, like something ridiculous. Like nobody can defeat it but this one.
Of course he can.
Of course he can.
Wouldn't be an isekai if he couldn't, buddy.
I know.
Wouldn't be an isekai if he couldn't.
And then, so I'm a spider. So what?
So that's a new one.
That's a recent one I've been watching. So I think there's about 6 episodes.
So what's that like? Because I know the general, it's basically just slime but spider, right?
Yeah, so basically there was a class who, did they die? Did they get summoned? I can't remember. I think they died. Anyway, whatever. So this class gets like summoned to like another world, and they get sort of distributed within the world, and they, I think a class sort of teams up. But they fight each other because they're all Japanese.
Yeah, okay.
And some people are like born into families that are like knights and stuff like that, whatever. And there's only a few that were summoned as like monsters. So there was like a dragon. Slowly, it's like 60 centimeters high and it's growing.
Yeah, baby dragon. Yeah.
And then there's a spider which you follow. He's also a Japanese guy. He gets summoned like in the depths of like some monster mine cave. Yeah.
So very slime-like.
Very slime-like, yeah. But he has to go down, and he keeps going down, levels up against all these stronger enemies, and then I think at the moment he's like, he was just evolving into a demon lord. Yeah, I think like all these different traits from leveling up start popping up, and he starts flicking through them because isekai.
Isekai, yeah, it was all very isekai.
Yeah. And then ReZero, that's one of my top ones.
Well, that's a really good isekai in my opinion, because it's a horror-based isekai, and it does a lot to subvert the genre.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Where the main protagonist has an overpowered ability, but he's not overpowered in the sense he can change everything with his like
And
sheer
al-
strength.
And also, like, not a lot of context is given for abilities and skills and stuff like that in the world.
I think with this second season, it has, it's sort of told you the backstory of what has happened now.
Okay, right, yeah.
It's really good. It's real juicy at the moment.
Mm.
Yeah, Tensei Slime. I love it.
I mean,
It's a
we've
good
mentioned it a bunch, and we should probably save that one to talk about last or close to the end, because I think that there's a lot of good points we can make on that one.
Then Mushoku Tensei, the jobless reincarnation.
So that's another new one.
I don't mind it.
I fucking hate it.
You hate it just because of how bad, like,
Yeah,
fan service
were you
it
about to
is.
say
Yeah.
you hate it because of how bad it is?
No, not how bad it. I was gonna say like the fan service side of things where he's like drooling. Anyway, because he's like basically a 35, 40-year-old virgin.
Again, that word is mentioned.
Who was masturbating in front of his computer.
Yeah, and like
in his past, and then he dies because he got hit by a car or something.
But like the stuff of him, like that scene in particular, I think it's like episode 2 or 3 or something. That scene with him masturbating, I don't find that gross or bad or anything. It's the scenes that are like, if you know,
let's be honest. Like, I didn't like the first episode. I didn't like that sort of side of him. I was like, I like this world that they've created. I thought it was pretty good.
I mean, there was parts of it that I like.
I like how he's not overpowered straight off the bat. Like how they say, like basically he's sort of born and he's progressing his skills.
Yeah, well,
because he has a different understanding because he had a previous life.
Yeah, well, he's infinite with the knowledge of a 35-year-old. Like,
Exactly.
you know, he knows how to test his limits and test his boundaries and improve, and he knows how you discover and inquire, and that, like, he has those adult knowledges, like that adult knowledge on how to understand how a world works.
Yep.
And when you apply that from a young age, of course, you're going to be, you know.
Yeah, that's right. But
Just why do they bring all the virgin stuff into it?
I don't like that side of things as much. Yeah,
I think if you took that out, I'd love it. I think there's so many things in there that I very much like. I think the world building of it, it's fantastic. And I think the way he understands magic and the way he tests his magic abilities is really great. It's just, I don't want to have to listen to his parents getting railed every fucking scene at night, or his sensei, like, discovering her young, supple body outside his door at night, listening to the...
I forgot that even happened.
I don't know how, it sieves out of your brain. Like, you never notice
I've
it.
got a pretty good filter.
For me, it's just like I said, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, why?
Yeah, I don't know. I just sort of... It just goes over my head.
But I
ignore it.
I did a bit of research into that one because there was a lot of talk online about it when I was kind of doing research about isekais. So that series, Mushoku Tensei, started off as a light novel on an online light novel publishing site, and it grew to be very popular straight off the bat. Like, it was the highest rated series on this site for a long time, and it still sits in like the top 5.
Does this mean I'm expecting great things from this genre?
Yes.
Okay.
So
cool. I did read somewhere where it's going to be quite a long series.
Well, this series, Mushoku Tensei and Sword Art Online, both started around the same time. Sword Art Online was coming out as an anime at the time, and this was coming out as a light novel. So both these series are kind of credited with kicking off this big influx of this type of isekai, which basically every isekai we've mentioned falls into this kind of category me and you have, where it's more of this modern trope of a fantasy world where it's more based around RPGs and MMORPGs and all this stuff. But like isekai as a genre, is a lot more like Spirited Away. The movie is by Studio Ghibli is technically an isekai. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like this genre is more than these shows, but for us, these shows are everything right now because there's so many of them.
Oh man,
there's so much
trash.
Well, when I started doing research for this episode, I was like, I could have picked 50 different shows. Like, there's just so many out there, and as we just heard going through your descriptions of those shows you're watching, so many of them hit the same beats. Like, they
do, yeah. Like,
there's plot baked into the actual concept of an isekai. So many of these shows just hit the same beats. So like shows like ReZero that subvert the genre, or I would say the Rising of Shield Hero subverts the genre a little bit as well. These shows stand out to me as being something a lot better, but still there's so many things in there that I fucking hate that hold it back, you know?
Well, with this, like with that spider one I was mentioning.
Yeah.
So that sort of diverges where the main character that you follow, the spider, is actually becoming the villain with his stat points. Like he's turning into a demon lord, which everybody else are training to defeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's sort of leading like where he'll probably use that power to defeat the other demon lord, which you see anyway, but whatever.
Well,
I don't think he'll be the most liked character when he gets above ground and finds his like classmates.
yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
So the topic of today is why isekai. So I think where we should start is what drew you to this genre at the start? Like what was it? What was your first isekai of this kind of elk?
Well, I think it was ReZero.
Really?
I think it was ReZero or Sword Art, one of them two. Because of I think there's a guy who just joined the Discord. Brand. He suggested a few. I think it was Sword Art. And then in between, I sort of watched ReZero, and then ReZero sort of took over Sword Art.
Yeah, it's much better.
And I just watched the entire season. And it drew me towards this genre a lot more because I wasn't a big fan of that whole reincarnation to begin with. I was sort of like, I didn't want to watch it.
Yeah,
And I kept diverging away and started watching, I don't know, One Piece and whatever.
Yeah.
And then I sort of got into ReZero, and it just took me away. I was like, wow, okay, this isn't too bad. I was like, I can get past the whole reincarnation and just sort of focus on this world that they've created.
ReZero is a great one. Like
I thought it was brilliant.
we banged on a bunch about it in our ReZero episode, but that's some of the best world building gone into a series, and just some real great like horror.
Yeah.
Like anime horror is just really done well. But I think for me it would have been Sword Art for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I watched Sword Art ages ago, and I remember watching it for the first time and thinking, okay, this genre, like, I could see people loving this. There was definitely things I hated, but the world building that went into it, I was on board with.
I just remembered. I think I was watching Tensei Slime before all of those. Because I told you about it. I said, oh, this is a fun anime.
Yeah, you actually told me about Slime, like,
when it was coming out day by
week
by week.
We were onto the time I got reincarnated as a slime, but like episode 3 I think was out by the time I started watching.
Yeah. That's probably my first one actually.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So your first one was arguably the best one.
Probably.
I would say it's the best because I mean,
I'd say it's on par with ReZero now.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. I just like ReZero now.
Well, ReZero is like such a like we said it before, it's a subversion of the genre, but where slime is basically the antithesis of the genre.
is,
like it's everything I want.
The overpowered character.
And also it's just fucking wholesome as shit.
It is, yeah.
It's like a really wholesome show, and the fan service in there is not.
Yeah, it doesn't take away from them.
No, and it's not as bad. Like
there's
it's
a lot of
noticeable.
anime titties.
Yeah, it's noticeable, but it's not like the main character isn't being like, oh, I get to breastfeed, like, or you know, I'm gonna wear these underwear on my head and look all sweaty and gross, and like.
Are you just referencing?
I hate it so much. Like it was so bad. I really did not like Mushu.
I have
Tensei.
literally watched one where the main character comes up against a dragon. And so the only way to kind of defeat the dragon was to stick its ass. And then...
Was to what, sorry, buddy?
Stick the sword up its ass.
Okay, yep.
Right? And then it turned into a sexual thing because the dragon was actually a person. Yeah, it was super fucking weird. Super weird.
Cool. I love isekais, mate.
It was bad.
I don't feel mentally drained at all after this week. I don't feel actually stupider after watching as much isekai as I have in the last 5 days.
Oh my god.
Fucking isekai, mate.
That was one thing that I sort of remembered because I was like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Well, we've talked a bit about the bad things of Isekai. I think we've only exclusively talked about the bad things, but I do think there is some really great stuff that goes in with these series, and I think the strongest point a lot of these series have is world building. Like the world building that goes into these shows are great.
They are.
Like Fonburi or whatever it is, Bo Fury, Fury, whatever. That series has some god awful world building in it. just for the fact that it feels like a broken game.
Yep.
But I love it. I don't know what about that world building is so great to me, but that kind of pseudo MMORPG kind of lots of gamer talk and gamer lingo, and they're using a bunch of familiar things around the gaming scene of like MMORPGs. Like for some reason it just clicks. Like it's so interesting to watch sometimes, and when they strip away a lot of that fan service, because there isn't that much fan service in that series, and they just kind of get down to the relationships and the kind of innocence of this main character who's so overpowered and so innocent about being overpowered.
Because she was so oblivious about this game. She basically asked her friend, right?
Yeah, her friend
suggested
it, and she was like, oh, I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
Just simped her way into it.
Yep.
And then just happened to be...
She just didn't want to get hurt, mate. That's all.
So she just put all her points into defense.
It makes sense.
And like, I don't know why, but it's so charming to me, that series. But then you get a series of the similar ilk of like that basically has the same setup and everything, and I just fucking hate it. I don't know why that one stood out to me, but I really did enjoy it. I do have a few questions here, buddy. What is the worst isekai in your opinion? At least the one you've watched. Like, I've banged on about Mushu Tensei a bunch, and I probably pronounce it wrong every time. But I think it's my least favorite, just for the no, it does have a lot of good things in it. I hated what I saw.
Maybe Cautious Hero or Every Fureta.
Yeah,
I think.
So what makes a bad isekai, do you think? Because they all seem to follow the same points of a super overpowered protag.
Yeah.
World building, all that jazz. Like, so what makes it bad? If all that's still there, how can it still be there?
Overly fan serviced, maybe. It sort of takes it away from the actual world that they've built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because see, it's tough for me because I feel like
and I suppose when I don't know, because like Sword Art took it away from me when they started getting these dumb abilities that made no sense, and I was just like, well, this is shit. They're just going to keep giving them power where they.
But then you have
never earned it.
But then you have a series like Slime, where he gets a bunch of power without technically earning any of it. You know,
right.
he just kind of lucks into saying the right words when he's dying to kind of...
Yeah, he did too.
To luck into this ability Predator. You know, like he didn't technically earn that ability.
No.
It doesn't technically earn anything, really. You know, he kind of lucks his way through a lot of it. But why is that show so much better?
I guess... Yeah, it's probably just... I'm not too sure. I guess that... I don't know, eh? Sort of stumped me. I do like Slime because it feels fun, kinda.
It does. It's very fun. It is, and like, I was gonna write.
They explain a lot of things.
I was gonna write a question that what's the best isekai, but I realized what's the best isekai. The answer is Slime. Like, of course it's Slime. Like it's the best one. Like it's the most
isekai.
Wholesome. It's the most entertaining. The action beats in it are great. The supporting cast are great. The pro tag is great without being too, whiny and overpowered. Like
actually, even the new season, like, I'm loving it,
and it builds so quickly. There's no fat. It's very quick and to the point, which a lot of isekais are. There is not a lot of fat in a lot of isekais.
It's like really political at the moment as well.
Yeah, like a lot of geopolitical and stuff like that.
It's cool. It is cool. I haven't seen any other isekais that have done what they have. like built what they have built.
Yeah, exactly. And like,
And there are still like enemies which are OP, which probably could shit all over the slime at the moment until he starts devouring.
yeah.
You know,
So what do you look for when you're looking for a new anime, like a new isekai? Like, well, what are you checking out? Is it just you go into the isekai genre and you just
look,
random?
I read like the preview kind of thing.
and you're looking for what keywords? Virgin, overpowered.
No. I just sort of look to see if it's like a magical world built around like swords, you know, like medieval kind of thing.
For me, there was a few of them I watched for the lols. Like I saw it, I was like, that looked bad. I kind of want to check it out.
Yeah, I do that too.
Which is fine because I think trash TV is fine.
The animation, I always check for that.
They always seem to have good animation too. I didn't watch
Some
one
of
with
them,
bad.
Yeah. Once they start getting into like 3D animation,
Yeah, 3D animation sucks.
I start vomiting in my mouth.
Yeah.
It is bad. I think that's a big one for me, the animation.
And like,
I want to be able to enjoy it. Yeah.
It's got to look good.
It's got to look good.
But like, and like for a genre of anime that's arguably easy to write, like I think a show like this would be easy to write. Yeah. They get to flex a bit more with the animation, so you see a lot of these ones look gorgeous. Like, I know we've talked a little bit about it, but Slime, like, not Slime, sorry, Rising of Shield Hero, looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
At every point. Every point it looks great.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna have to get into it.
It's good. Like, I can talk a little bit about it if you want, because
go for it.
I think it's an interesting one because, again, like ReZero, it kind of subverts the genre a little bit in regards to the protag. The protag when he comes in is part of a group of 4. So there's a sword hero, a spear hero, a bow hero, and a shield hero who are summoned to this fantasy world to defeat this oncoming threat of...
Is it a demon lord?
No, it's like waves of destruction, like this kind of...
Oh, okay, right.
Like big event.
A calamity.
Yeah, some sort of calamity.
Okay.
Insert disaster thing here for an isekai.
I watched a terrible show, and all they said, every second word was calamity. And oh my God.
Love that word.
It was terrible.
But yeah, shield hero. So like, it subverts the genre in a way because he is kind of the villain. Well, he's made to be the villain. The world makes him the villain. So it's interesting to watch a protagonist kind of be gaslit into this corner where he has to be the villain, where he's making decisions
Is that so everybody works together kind of thing? For like a common goal?
But they've got a common enemy, but it feels like the kingdom or this world is already just against him because they've decided that the shield needs to be, like, that he needs to be a villain. Like, there's already a villain in this world. Like, it doesn't always make sense why they single him out so much. But because the world has painted him into the corner of being a villain, he makes decisions that I don't think he would normally make, that he would have made before. Like, he's making evil decisions, arguably, quote-unquote, bad decisions or the villainous decision, because that's what the world wants him to do. So watching him do that and be gaslit into becoming this person that he maybe wasn't going to be, or maybe shouldn't be, is really interesting. And
okay,
again, the world building's really interesting. I kind of want to see what becomes of this series given another season or two. Like, I feel like...
So it hasn't finished yet?
No, there's only... I think it's 2 seasons or something like that. But, like, I feel like this show could take the genre in some interesting directions. The same way that I feel like Slime took the genre in some interesting directions in the first season, where we actually spend a lot of time kind of leveling up the main protag in a way where it's sort of not crucial to the story.
He's also uniting the monsters as well.
Yeah, well, like, he's not growing as a protag, he's growing a community around him as a protagonist. You know what I mean? Like, it's less his growth and more the growth of this kind of community around him. Whereas Shield Hero, it's less the community around him is where it's this kind of personal negative growth where you can kind of see him dwelling and stewing and kind of changing the person he is, which is kind of interesting. I think you would love it. Obviously, it's an isekai that it's in your alley, up your alley. But yeah, it's a good one. Watch it.
All right. Yep.
And
I've already got it down on my list.
I'm gonna finish
With,
maxed out my defense.
So you've watched Overlord?
I've watched a few episodes of Overlord.
Yeah. So that's an isekai.
Yeah. But it's interesting because it's an isekai that starts off with, well, very quickly, he's already at the peak of his game.
Oh, so
he's already the overlord of this.
So he's a maxed out character.
Yeah, so basically...
Or is he a whale?
No, basically, he was
spend
playing
money?
this game and he refused to log out, and as the servers went dark, he noticed that the NPCs continued to go along and they grew. The NPCs started to change and develop and evolve, as the servers went dark, and he was the last player on it.
Oh.
So
So
while...
he's versing NPCs.
Yeah, kind of. So while this game's been dark and the world's developing and growing around him, he's taken that time to become the strongest overlord and basically rule over this whole world. So, he's already a god when the story kicks off, you know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
So it's interesting. I've only watched a few episodes.
And he's the main character.
Yeah. I've only watched a few episodes, but it's quite good. You'd like
So
it,
is
obviously.
he an antagonist?
Again, I've only seen a few episodes, so it's hard to tell.
right.
I don't really know where it's going. It
Interesting.
is good, though. It's got legs.
It's got legs.
It's got legs, and like a lot of these, I do think a lot of these have legs. Like I've bung on about Mushokai Tensei,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna keep watching it. I will finish out the season. I will watch.
Okay.
I will watch it, like, because I think there's some interesting things in there, and as much as I do hate
There's going to be some scenes where
There's
you're
gonna
going
be
to message me and go, "This is shit."
Oh,
Trust me.
I've already
trust me.
fought the urge to message you like 5 times and just being like, "Fuck, I hate you." I fucking hate Isekai, and I hate you for liking Isekai.
This is just like that Goblin Slayer.
Oh, fucking Goblin Slayer. And like, there's a lot of these isekais that start off in like dungeons and stuff, and like, there's always a little part of my mind that's like, if shit starts to get hairy, just turn it off, Philip. You don't have to watch it. It's okay. Just turn it off before the rape scenes, okay? It's awful, my friend.
That's terrible.
Goblin Slayer.
Oh yeah, I'm still waiting for the second season though. Mate, they make goblins horrifying in that show.
Yeah.
They are absolutely horrifying.
It's amazing how often Goblin Slayer comes up on this podcast for a series I hate fucking so much. Oh, Jesus Christ. Is there anything else we need to talk about isekais? So, we've banged on a bunch. I think... Do we have an answer to the question, why isekai? Is it just because...
Why else, mate?
Why else?
Why else?
Why else?
Anime titties. No, I'm kidding. No. Look, I guess they just appeal to some of my childhood nostalgic kind of gaming, RPG life,
Yeah, agreed. And as someone who, quote unquote, hates isekais, I can see the merit in them, and there are some really good ones out there. And I think...
Oh, but you got to filter through a lot of trash.
That's the thing. I think it's the most overpolluted genre of anime at the moment, and I think that gives it a bad name alone.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the diamonds in the rough here are really good.
They are, yeah.
If you're
I gotta
willing to
agree.
sort through the rough. But then again, it's
I
2021. You don't need to sort through the rough. Just do what I do. Just Google what are the best isekais.
Or
and
just do
watch
what I
those.
do and just watch
All
all
of
of
them. All of them. Sort through the rough with your bare hands. Just fucking get into it. Get real dirty with it. You fucking little grub. You absolute grub.
Oh, man.
So, we should probably rip into the next section, buddy. So the Mouldy Cheese segment. This is a segment of the show where we take a look back on the various shows that aired on Cheese TV, and we decide whether it's aged like fine cheese or if it's just mouldy. This week on the menu, it's The Winx Club, an Italian-American animated series co-produced by Rainbow Spa and Nickelodeon. The show is set in the magical universe that inhabited by fairies and witches and magical creatures. Let's hear that intro.
Close your eyes and open your heart. Believe in yourself. That's how it starts. Dreams will come true. Just wait and see. 'Cause the magic's in you.
Winx Club, mate. An absolute ripper of a series that aired on Cheese TV and recently got a live-action remake made for Netflix called Fate something on Netflix that came out a few weeks ago.
That. Wow.
So...
It has come a long way, hasn't it?
Inspired by that live-action one, I decided to go back and rewatch the first couple of seasons of the Winx Club.
How did you do it?
Well, do you remember the Winx Club?
I do. And I used to turn it off.
Well, we're not the target demographic.
That's what I was going to say next.
But so growing up, I grew up with all boys in my house. I have no sisters, and your sisters are older.
Yes.
So they weren't exactly watching cartoons when we were watching cartoons. So neither of our households were watching the Winx Club on a regular basis. But I had neighbours. I had a neighbours next door that I was very close with, and they had 3 girls, 3 sisters that we hung out with all the time. Tori, Holly, and Natalia maybe? I can't remember the third one.
Shout out, yeah.
She was so young. Anyway, so they would watch the Winx Club all the time. They had the Winx Club dolls, they had all the action figures, they had all the outfits, they had the DVDs. They were a Winx Club household. So
the Winx, they did they hit the target audience.
Man,
they were looking for.
this show was massive. This show in its origin country of Italy has its own Disney World set out to it. Winx Club has an amusement park where you can go visit, and it's a remake of the set, and there's statues and everything. It's a massive deal. This made the Italian, because it's produced by the Italian Broadcasting Association, I believe. It made him.
In there, mate?
Well, that's the American version. So
okay, right.
the original version comes from was an Italian animation production, and it was picked up by 4Kids, who handled the English dub of it.
Yeah,
and obviously the Western distribution. So 4Kids are the ones who did the dub for shows like Yu-Gi-Oh, One Piece, and stuff like that. They've done some notoriously bad dubs. This, however, is a great dub. The 4Kids version of Winx Club is the Winx Club I remember. I did go back and watch a more accurate dub of this, where they haven't sliced up the episode orders and changed a few things and redid a few things like 4Kids did. And 4Kids nailed it. They really got this one right. So
tell me, does it follow a storyline?
Yeah, there is an overarching plot
through
season to season. So basically what they do is there is a villain for every season, like a new villain, and every episode is kind of a little bit of overarching plot line with obviously like a monster of the week or whatever is happening that week, It's very, very kind of formulaic in the way it goes. It's a magical girl anime, so it's along the lines of your Sailor Moons, your card captors, and all that stuff. Like, it follows a lot of these same tropes, but I think it's a really good show. And I think because we're not the target demographic, it's a bit harder for us to kind of gauge, is this moldier if it's getting it, yada, yada, yada. But upon watching 2 seasons of this recently, and being aware that it was hitting the target demographic when it came out, my neighbours liked it, obviously. And that's admittedly a small pool to be extrapolating that it was hitting its market. But, I mean, there wasn't that many shows targeted towards young girls at that time, especially on Cheese TV. Well, I've been going through the list of on this Cheese TV, like, of all the programs they ran, and this is one of the only ones, with a few exceptions, but that's one of the only ones that's targeted towards girls.
My Little Pony?
I think it's on there.
Is it on there?
Yeah, I think so. That and Totally Spies, which is another really good one.
Yeah, right.
So do you remember anything of the Winx Club?
Other than their fairies and all the male men are like chiseled.
Yeah, they're all jacked. So basically, there's 2. So
and don't touch their hair.
Don't touch their hair. Look all you want.
Yeah,
just don't touch the hair. So the Winx Club, the universe of the Winx Club is you've got Alfheim. I think it's Alfheim. I can't remember.
Alfheim.
But there's I don't think it's Alfheim. I can't remember. There's 2 schools, right? All the girls go to this witch school, or this fairy school, sorry.
Fairy, yeah.
Yep. and all the boys go to this hero school. So they're all heroes with laser swords and stuff like that. But there's some really cool stuff, and there's a really good fusion of the magical world and the sci-fi world, because, you know, there's flying bikes and hoverboards and stuff like that, and laser swords and laser guns, as well as magic and stuff. Like, it's really cool and interesting world building. And I will admit that one of my first crushes was with Tekna from the Winx Club, rocking a mean little pixie cut. She was fierce.
I think I know the one.
Yeah, well, she was dating the real nerd guy from the hero thing, so I kind of latched onto that a little hard. Young Philip knew who he was.
Oh, God.
But no, this is an interesting one, because it's kind of hard for me to pass judgment on a show that was not targeted towards me at all.
Yeah.
It's probably the first one that I've watched that hasn't been targeted towards, you know, young boys, or that at least, you know, when I watched it, it wasn't being targeted at me. But I think it's good, man. I think it holds up. Like, the first 2 seasons I watched this had some genuinely good moments. The animation throughout all is terrible, but, you know, it's fun. There's some fun, campy moments, and it's good to see representation for girls, because chicks like cartoons, I assume.
Of course. Yeah.
I've never asked.
Well, I'm sure they watch anime too.
Exactly. I don't...
It's not just young Japanese men.
No, or really white guys.
Oh, yeah, really.
Really white
Who
guys.
just never leave the house.
I'm so pasty and pale. It's not funny. I don't have a bunch to say on Winx Club, because honestly, and you would have heard it throughout this whole episode, my throat is dying. I have to edit out so much coughing. So I'm just going to say that this one's getting it. This is aged like fine cheese. I think this is a really good, fun show.
Yeah, and who am I to say that it's moldy? It
It wasn't targeted, but I do think this is good, and I'm excited I might watch
It's still going, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I might watch the live action one and report back on the next week's episode. I'm excited. So yeah, this one's fine cheese, man. I'm happy with this.
Cover all 9,000 taste bud. Aerate it. Warm it up. Driving up that top note, that cream, pure vanilla, sweeteners. That's a 10.
That is a 10. Oh, man. It's been an absolute ripper of an episode, buddy. As much editing as I'm going to have to do on this one.
Oh, yeah.
It's been real fun.
It's always fun.
It is always fun. And I'm glad we got to finally answer the question, why Isekai?
Why Isekai?
It's been great, mate.
Because it's fun.
It is fun. It is a lot of fun.
You don't know what you're going to get until
you do know what you're going to get. Don't fucking say you don't know what you're going to get. I knew exactly what I was going to get every time I turned on an Isekai, you monster. So guys, go out and like the socials at Lords of Dorktown on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Twitter scares me and Facebook's dead, so Insta's the place to be. If you want to get in touch with the pod, just reach out at lordsofdorktown@gmail.com. Join the Discord. There's a little thing down in the bottom of this episode description. Get on that. It's been fire.
Get on that.
And keep it dorky, baby.
Peace out.
Peace. Don't know what you're going to get. Fucking hell.
More Isekai.